Welcome to this episode of the Gig Harbor Fly Show. Today we're going to be talking about knots for saltwater flies, streamers, and steelhead. When you tie the fly on, the knot that you use is really important. And most people starting off fly fishing learn the improved clinch knot, which is a great knot, and I use that knot all the time fishing dry flies and nymphs. But for fishing big saltwater patterns, whether in the tropics or even in Puget Sound, I use a loop knot to give the fly a little bit of mobility and a little bit more wiggle so it's not directly tied to the line. This knot's also called the cray loop, and I'm going to demonstrate how to tie this one for fishing saltwater stuff. Now I use this for bonefish, sea run cutthroat trout. If in the saltwater, the only time I don't use the loop knot is when I'm fishing gurglers, but for everything else, from tarpon to bonefish, whatever, I use the loop knot. So here it is. I'm going to use this backing just so it's colorful and easy to see, but you're going to start by making a square knot, an overhand knot in the line. You'll run that through the eye of the hook. And then I grab that loop there at the eye of the hook and run that line back through the loop. So it looks like that. From there, I'm going to make my wraps around the line. And it depends on how thick the line is. So if I'm using 80-pound test, I can't do 5 wraps. I'm going to do 3 wraps. If I'm using 15-pound test or 10-pound test, I might do 5 or 4. Then you'll just wet the knot and you pull the knot down nice and tight. And there it is. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate tying this knot again, but this time I'm going to use monofilament just so the backing is great to use for visibility, but just in case this is helpful for you. Start with your knot, that loop in the line. Make sure it's not too big or else you're going to have a really big loop in front of the line. The reason why you don't want a big loop in front of the line is that the fly can foul up and grab, it'll flip around and can grab the front end of that knot. So I got my loop, I went back through the loop, making my wraps. This is 16-pound test, so I did 4 wraps there. There's my knot. Now fishing steelhead, I always fish tube flies, or almost always fish tube flies, and I rig these a little slightly different. And what I do, there's a couple different ways you can put a stinger off the back of the fly. But here's one way that's pretty easy that for most of you starting out can do, because you probably already know a perfection loop. So if you push the line through the tube, you can then just take this line and either make a perfection loop or just real quick, I'm going to make a double surgeon's loop. So you fold the line in half and essentially make an overhand knot twice with it. And then now at this point, you can move the knot to make a bigger or smaller loop. And the bigger the knot, the further back the hook is going to be on the fly. So I made this one pretty good size. And then all I do is I take the line and I pinch the line, push it through the eye of the hook. I do 2 wraps around the hook. It makes a little figure 8 there, just kind of keeps that hook from moving. And then now I have my hook, the knot. I would cut that tag end. And then my fly can slide down. And there I'm going to have that stinger hook trailing right off the back. Now you can tie the perfection loop with the hook on the line already, but it's a little bit trickier. So it's just starting off, just to be able to kind of get out there on the water. A perfection loop or the double surgeon's loop allows you to move and kind of massage that knot so you can, before you tighten it down, to make it bigger or smaller to kind of position where you want the hook to be. Takes a couple tries. It's definitely a good thing to practice at home, and once you get it, you'll be all set. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Gig Harbor Fly Show. We'll see you on the water.